Hello, welcome to the channel. My name's Gav from the channel Hiking for Health, and if you haven't been here before, I do a mixture of hiking, wild camping and gear reviews. Well, it's a nice Sunday at the end of August and I'm out in the Lincolnshire Wolds with Louise for a nice 7-mile hike starting at the village of Ludford. So behind me is the site of RAF Ludford Magna, which was operational between 43 and 45, and it was the home to the 101 Squadron that was operational during World War II. After the base's closure at the end of the Second World War, it was then reopened during the Cold War, and it was home to some Thor ballistic missiles. It was quite a tense period of history where these missiles, it was DEFCON 2, and they were ready for being used. The base closed in the 60s, and since then it's just been used for agriculture. I've noticed that the harvest seems to have been taken in really early this year, probably due to the hot summer we've just had. So there is the Belmont transmitting tower, which is visible from miles around in this part of Lincolnshire. This is one of the entrances to what would have been the RAF base. I've mentioned it before in one of my previous videos on the RAF Metheringham one about fog dispersal, FIDO. This was also an RAF base that had that, and it's one of 4, I believe, in the Lincolnshire RAF bases on the east coast, and that allowed the bombers to land safely if they needed to. Looking at this area now, it's hard to imagine that it would have been the home to Lancaster bombers, as there's not much left of it. So we're now on the Viking Way, and we're running parallel to what was the medieval village of East Wykeham. There's not much there nowadays, so I wonder what we can see. So East Wykeham sits down there, the hall remains, and there's a part of a church apparently, but it's all on private land. Yeah, so in the 1300s, East Wykeham and West Wykeham were all joined as a parish. So we've decided to have a stop and have a coffee with a nice view. So we're looking over where East Wykeham would have been. It's quite pleasant up here. So there's quite a lot of flies though, but there always are at this time of year, especially now all of the harvesting's been done. That was a nice little tea break. So now it's back on the trail. The leaflet for this particular walk says that you can see a part of the old medieval village from the track, but we'll see. I'm not so sure. It's nice just to take a moment to just breathe it all in. There's the Belmont Tower. It's a Sunday afternoon. Such a peaceful walk. The weather's just perfect. The sun's gone in now, so there's no direct sunlight. It's just hazy cloud. You might notice on my videos there's a bit of a theme. I love the idea of time travel and learning about the past. And whenever I come to something like a medieval village, I can't help but think about what it would have been like, what would happen if I dropped into a time portal and just stepped out and it was in the 1300s and East Wykeham was bustling about. What would the scene look like in front of me? How would the people talk? How would they interact? Would they be friendly? Would they be wary? Yeah, I grew up watching a lot of time travel films, and some scenes really stick out in my memory. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells with Guy Pearce, that's a great film. There's the scene where his time machine goes through time and it's in his library where he lives in his great grand house. And as he's in the time machine, everything changes around it and he goes forward into time. So this morning, I had a result with Amazon. My DJI Osmo Mobile 6 gimbal that I use for filming has started to play up. It wouldn't fully recharge. I'd fully charge it the best I could and then take it out and it would be gone within a couple of minutes. And it was never completely straight. So I was having to play around with the settings and try and make the screen straight as I could, and having to manually calibrate it all the time. So with the charging issue, I thought, well, something's not right. I contacted Amazon, and it turned out that it was 1 month away from being 2 years since I purchased it. And luckily enough, it fell into the full refund category, so I couldn't believe it. So I'm sending it back for a full refund, and then I'm replacing it with the DJI Mobile Osmo 7P, which is the Pro version, and it's actually cheaper than what the refund's going to be by about 12 quid. So result. Good customer service. So this is the area where the village of East Wykeham would have been. You can see the bumps and lumps in the ground. There seems to be a ridge here which may have formed some form of wall. I would have liked to have got the drone up at East Wykeham, but I noticed that there were cows about and I don't like disrupting farm animals and wildlife when I'm flying the drone. So it's a shame, but I would have liked to have seen what it was like from above, as there was definitely evidence of the old medieval village. So at this point, this part of the route can go to Bimbrook, but we're on a circular heading back to Ludford, so we are heading along this track just here. Lou's just come up with a great idea. What was your idea, Lou? Fish and chips in Market Raisin, I think. What a great idea. So we're on about mile 5 or 6 at the moment, and we're heading back to Ludford now. Some lovely wide open views. Real nice, refreshing breeze. Just good to be out on a Sunday. Look what I've just found in my bag. I do like apples anyway, but when you're out walking, one of these, just so refreshing. Let's see if it's open, see if there's any history in here. Unfortunately not. This plaque is on the wall of the White Hart pub in the village of Ludford. And it's dedicated to the men and women of the Royal Air Force who served at Ludford Magna during the Second World War. 740 of these brave young men, some still only teenagers, never returned home. 96 of them have no known graves. We will remember them. Well, I've got some coffee to finish in my flask, so I'm going to sit here on this bench and finish it off. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks for coming along on the walk, and we'll hopefully see you on the next one.